Manifestation is like a muscle. It's a habit that we must build and develop and strengthen. And like any habit, it takes initial time and then compounds tremendously over time. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rosa, and if this is the first time that you're seeing my face, then welcome. It's so nice to have you here on the channel. First and foremost, if you guys can hear the lawnmower in the back of this video, I am sincerely sorry. In ideal circumstances, I would wait for the lawnmower to pass. However, I have like an hour to film like 3 videos, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. Now, if you're interested in getting one-on-one coaching with me, checking out my free webinar on self-concept, or purchasing my brand new mini book called Becoming a State Shifter, then all of that and more is in the description down below, as well as on www.rohosa.com. So you can check out all those things, as well as any other future offers that I may potentially come out with in the future, all in one place. Now, let's talk very, very quickly, spark notes, what is manifestation? Manifestation is bringing our desire that lives in our imagination into this 3D tangible physical reality. Now, very simply put, how do we effectively manifest? Number one, we need the desire. We need to be certain about what we want. We need to declare our aim and not waver, maybe I want this, maybe I don't know. Do you want this? Okay, great. Lock that in as a desire that you want. State what you desire. Number 2 is affirm it mentally. Mentally tell yourself the story that I am already experiencing this thing. I'm just a person who has this thing already in my life. Affirm it on a loop, on a loop, on a loop consistently so that you saturate your mind. And then number 3 is continue to persist in that saturating of your mind, because when you continue to persist, it eventually seeps into your subconscious mind. And once your subconscious mind is impressed with you already feeling the naturalness and the normalness of you having your desire, that's when it comes into fruition. So our key is getting ourselves to believe that our manifestation is here. How do we get there? By affirming on a loop, again and again and again, repeating to ourselves, using our conscious mind to impress upon our subconscious mind the reality we want to experience as if it's a here. At first, you're going to affirm, you're not going to feel it. But over time, through the persistence, you eventually start to feel like, oh, this is just my life. This is who I am. This is normal to me. And I just am this version. And once you get to that point, it is only a matter of time before it shows up in your 3D. But in order to affirm new thoughts consistently, this takes practice. And this is a habit in and of itself. Persisting and trusting and not stopping to affirm, that needs to become a habit. Our mind is all we need to master in order to get all the things that we desire in this life. But as Neville Goddard says, it can take a lifetime of practice to use our minds wisely. Because while we think that, we're free to think whatever we want and change our thoughts whenever effortlessly, while that would be a nice idea, the truth is that our thinking is extremely habitual. It has definite paths that it naturally goes down out of habit, and it follows the tracks that are laid out by our consistent daily inner conversations. Science tells us that we have, 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day, and 90% of them are the same as the day before, and 80% of those thoughts are negative, right? This is naturally most of our thoughts are negative. This is the natural human tendency until we become conscious of it and actively work on reprogramming our mind, because it doesn't have to be negative. What if those 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day were 80% positive instead of 80% negative? We can do that, but what we have to realize is the same way that it takes time to build a habit physically, it also takes time to build mental habits and create new neural pathways in our brain. And we do that by consistently reaffirming over and over and over again the new story, so that your brain naturally starts to go to the new neural pathways instead of the old familiar natural neural pathways that were creating your reality up until this point. Your reality is just a result of your past programming. It's a result of your daily consistent conversations and the way that you perceive yourself to be, your current self-concept, the identity that you hold subconsciously about yourself. That is always going to be projected back to you into your outer world. Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza explains this as the familiar past. We are constantly waking up and feeling and acting as if and living in mentally a space of the familiar past, meaning we were programmed with a certain set of beliefs, and every single day we're going to continue to perpetuate that old familiar past, not because we desire it, not because we want to live in this negative state where we're perpetuating this old story, but because it's familiar to our brains, and our brains just want what is easy. Our brains don't want to put in conscious effort for every single thought that we have. No, it wants to just take the path of least resistance. It wants to just naturally go to where your dominant inner conversations are. So this is why it takes initial mental discipline to form new habits and new neural pathways in our brains. So we need to learn how to work with our brains in order to manifest, because like we spoke about, it's what's in our subconscious mind. It's what are those majority of the thoughts that we're having. That's what dictate our life. If we're not conscious of choosing those thoughts that are on repeat in our mind, then it's going to be on autopilot. It's going to naturally reproduce those 80% of negative thoughts. We're going to get an 80% negative life instead of an 80%, 90%, 95% positive life that we do have the potential to be living in if we were to successfully reprogram our mind, which we can do through repetition. We can do through using our conscious mind to repeat over and over and over again the sentences and the life that we desire to be living. We don't need to stay stuck in the old story just because it's familiar for us to go back there, right? There's a difference between going into a negative emotion and having it come up for you and feeling it and releasing it and that being that and then redirecting to the positive versus letting yourself stay stuck in that negativity, therefore perpetuating it over and over and over again. I want to say this real quick because a lot of people get caught up in, feeling bad about having negative thoughts, having negative emotions. It doesn't matter the negative thoughts and emotions that you have. The more you redirect it, the more your brain will naturally redirect itself. But it does take that initial discipline to initially redirect your thoughts to the positive. This is why I really highly value and recommend that people start working on their self-concept first, because our self-concept, the way we view ourselves, our conception of ourselves, is like the foundation of all the other beliefs that stem from that. Instead of focusing on, my belief about manifesting this thing and my belief about manifesting this thing, it's like, no, let me first create a solid core foundation about who I am as a person. If I am naturally a person who is the creator of my reality, and that is a core belief, that is one of the beliefs that I don't have any doubts about. It's become an axiom, right, as I call it in my book. An axiom is basically a belief that we've adopted that no longer needs to be questioned. It's like a solidified belief system. If this axiom is ingrained within us, that we are the creator of our reality, that everything works out for us in our favor, these kind of core foundational self-concept ideas, which by the way, if you guys haven't checked out my free webinar that I hosted on self-concept, I'll leave that in the description for you as well so you can check that out. But once these core axioms are adopted, it trickles into a lot of your other subconscious beliefs. So you need to use your conscious mind to really affect these like core axioms in your life, which by the way, I give 5 core axioms in my book, like the 5 core things that you need to adopt and really seep into your subconscious mind in order for it to trickle into every other area. But once these axioms are really solidified in your mind, you're golden. Because then what happens is those 60 to 70,000 thoughts that you have per day, instead of naturally leaning towards the positive all the time, is over time, with the persistence of repeating these new axioms, you are forming new neural pathways. Your brain just naturally goes to the positive. And what happens when your brain naturally goes to the positive 90% of the day unconsciously? When all of your new dominant beliefs are 90% positive, that is what you're going to see being reflected back to you in your reality. Because your dominant beliefs, your natural state of being, your natural self-concept of yourself, the state of being, the way that you identify yourself and the way that you view this life is going to be reflected back to you. It's going to be manifested back to you. And this is what manifestation comes down to, is what are those 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day looking like? What are the thoughts that are repeating daily? Naturally, they're gonna be negative. So it is in our hands to use our conscious mind to consistently impress upon ourselves through affirmations or through daily thoughts or through whatever method you choose to use, whether that be scripting or visualizing, whatever, it doesn't matter. You need to use your conscious mind to consistently redirect your thoughts into the life that you want to create. Something I said in a previous video is that we need to push ourselves until it feels good, until it feels natural, because once it feels natural, we no longer need to push ourselves. So it's like we do that initial work to impress our subconscious mind, but once our subconscious mind is impressed, we don't need to do any work to impress it anymore. It's now our normal belief system. It's now what we believe. It's now adopted into our subconscious mind. And once our subconscious mind, whatever it's impressed with, has to show up in our external world. This is how the law of consciousness works. This is how this world works. And this isn't something you can just hear about and learn about and be like, okay, maybe. Like, you have to experience this for yourself to truly understand how this law works, right? This isn't something you just learn about and hear about. This is something you need to implement to see the results. So you don't think that I'm just sitting here talking crazy and haven't actually experienced these things myself. I have effectively reprogrammed my mind, reprogrammed my self-concept. I am now, I would consider myself now to be extremely confident. Like I can confidently say that now. But I wasn't able to say this even a year ago, right? But I was kind of getting there, but it wasn't quite there yet. But by doing this self-concept work, by actively every single day reprogramming my mind, redirecting my thoughts in alignment with who I want to become, it started to form a new life for myself. My confidence trickles into every other area of my life now. We must change our mind and our inner speech to effectively change our reality. Stop thinking about it, stop learning about it, and actually start reprogramming your mind, because it's going to compound over time. Just like the compound effect, if you guys know about the compound effect, it's when you do small daily actions every single day. They seem insignificant, you don't really see the big picture, you don't know how it's going to add up to you getting your desires, but you do it every single day. You impress upon your mind your desires every single day, the life you want to live every day, your new self-concept every single day. And one day you wake up and all of a sudden all your desires are flowing into your life. You're a completely new person living a completely new life, and it's because you did the work of small baby steps every single day, working with your mind with the change process rather than against it. And you're never not going to want to manifest, right? So you might as well start at the foundation, at the root, at building ourselves up, at believing in the idea of manifestation. Start building that habit now. That's all for me in this video, guys. I hope you got value out of it. If you did, please leave it a like and a comment down below letting me know what was the most valuable thing you got out of this video. Hit that subscribe button for new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And without further ado, I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Love you.